I'm already there.
Drinking with Authors may contain adult content. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to Drinking with Authors. I am your host, Nick Savage, who apparently cuts people off before we begin recording. This episode, as every episode, is brought to you by Four Horsemen Publications. That's the number 4. Multiple men on those horses and publications. So head on down to their website and check them out. Joining us tonight, though, is someone who you won't find on that website. So you got to stick around in order to find out where you can follow her and all that jazz. Author of the psychological thriller Hatch is Madeline Sanderson. So, Madeline, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Sorry about cutting you off. As you said, you were already there as we're talking about the moments we have as we age. And I'm only 46, but you have those moments where you're just like, and doing things, and apparently cutting her off as she's trying to talk is one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, boomer.
I know, right? No, I am a Gen Xer. I'm not a boomer, but thank you for that. It makes me feel even older. And I'm actually the youngest of the Gen Xers. Wait, you're 27, which makes you you're past millennial. You're a Gen Z.
Yeah, I
Yes.
like to go by the term zillennial, I guess, because I have some traits of millennial and then some traits of Gen Z. You know, I was like the still like that era growing up, you know, where you had like cable television and stuff and you had dial up and, you know, you had like one computer in the house and you still had a landline, you know, so I got to experience all of that. But, you know, also got to experience like the wave of technology too and social media. So,
Yeah, no, I understand because I'm definitely on the younger end of the Gen Xers, to which some of them are like, oh, you're Zennials, which are, you know, like the Gen X version of what you describe yourself as, where we're
right.
almost
So
too young
you
for
get
the
it.
X, too
Yeah.
old for the millennials. So we're Zennials, you're Zennials, I guess, because we had the X, you have the Z, whatever.
Yeah.
Millennials like that. There's no bad generation. That's the thing, is like everyone's like these generation wars and blah. And there's no bad generations. We just like to laugh at the Zers that like to think they discovered that you can put cheese on tortillas and microwave it. And they're like, I invented this. No, you didn't. It's been around for like thousands of years. Like,
No, yeah.
It's not new. You didn't discover shit. But like, and
Yeah.
there's a part of me that's like, the kids who do this have to say discover is like a ironical thing. Like they can't be serious. You know what I'm saying? But like,
Mhm.
on the same note, I invented embroidery one day thinking that I was inventing something new, and it was just embroidery. So it's a whole, like, I understand where they come from when they say stuff like that. But, you know, then you get told it's not new and you own up to it. But I have to ask, author of Hatch, which is your debut novel and
Yes.
came out in February 2025. So it's been over just over a year, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Things that happen when you start to age is you go, what year is it? I don't know.
I ask myself that every day. Yeah. I still think it's like 2022. So, yeah.
I still think it's 1998. It's okay. It's when our generations get old and senile, no one's going to know. No one's going to know.
Yeah.
They're just going to be like, oh, they've always been like this, which makes me wonder if we've all just started going senile early.
Yeah, it's just that neurotic in between generations, you know? Yeah.
It is.
I
It's
feel
hilarious.
you.
I feel bad for you guys though, because at least the Xers had a chance at like buying a house, having a career. Most of us blew it, but we had the chance. You guys don't have that at all. Like,
no, thank you for acknowledging that. I do appreciate it, although it does not lessen my despair as, you know, the fact that I'll never be able to own a home. But yes, I do appreciate your consideration there and acknowledgement.
had timing not worked out in my favor. And you know, they say luck is just there's a saying about it, and I can't remember the exact saying, but they're like, luck is just experience disguised in blah blah blah, whatever. Had it not worked out with the timing we had in purchasing our home, we never would have been able to buy this house. We bought it right at the start of the boom, you know, back in 20, 18 when everything started to rise and rise and rise. And it
Mm-hmm.
was literally like we bought our house, and a month later we had like $50,000 in equity in it because of the rise. And then it just kept going up, going up. You guys will never have that unless you suddenly get the recession, and then you're like, oh, we can buy a house. It's you're fucked for all practical
Yeah.
purposes.
Well,
It's
thank
it's
you. Thank you
horrible.
for the
Yeah,
for that light at the end of the tunnel, that little bit of
yeah. You
hope.
just gotta. Yeah, all you have to do is wait for the world to crash, so you
Yes.
can capitalize and own a home and stop paying a landlord, or
Yeah.
um,
And
just pull a
inflict our
Luigi and
demise on everyone else.
yeah, exactly. Oh my God. Speaking of demise, the cover of Hatch, I'm going to get around to this eventually. Jesus Christ. It's only been 5 minutes. Um,
I'm
the,
derailing you. It's not fair.
no, no, no. It's totally fine because normally I derail myself, which it happens. But the cover is wonderful. It's
Oh,
for anyone who can't go to Goodreads or Amazon right now and look it up. The cover is a pencil sketch if I know my art and I don't.
yeah, it's I use like a Posca marker. So it's a
Okay,
marker. Yeah.
but it's a marker. It's not like an oil painting or even acrylic. It's like marker and paper, and
Yeah.
it's a very well done. I know I'm making it sound like it was done by a 3-year-old. Um, it's a marker sketch of a woman and a spider hatching from her head, or some multi-legged creature. We don't actually know what it is. There's just legs coming out of the head, and it's really well done, and it's very intriguing, and it's very kind of uh, on the nose without being like too on the nose in terms of like, oh, here's just a fucking egg hatching or a chicken, whatever. It's hatched, and it's wonderful, but it's a psychological thriller. Uh, Tell us about it without spoilers.
For sure. Yeah. So I'll just sort of give you like a brief synopsis. So Hatch, it takes place post World War II. So it's about a guy named Paul, and he was a World War II veteran. And he embarks on a quest to find his missing wife. And in doing so, he ends up consulting the help of a psychic named Alice. And together, they sort of discovered that there's more to his wife's disappearance than what he had originally thought.
Where can we talk about where the like bodily horror aspect comes in, or is that going to spoil it?
Yeah, for sure. So,
Okay.
kind of like without giving too much away. So there's like a few themes that I maybe wanted to like talk about with the book. So, one of the themes, so the book does have a lot of body horror, so I guess I should, advertise that as like a disclaimer, like if you're not cool with body horror, maybe don't read the book, but yeah. So like one of the themes is like the body as a site of horror, which is implied by the title, right? So hatch, like the word hatch contains symbolism in itself, so like to hatch is to emerge or to be born or to like break through a barrier.
Yeah.
But it also implies like incubation, something growing that's unseen, or like a contained thing becoming uncontrollable. Um, so it kind of suggests like something inside just becoming external, so it's both literal and metaphorical. And it aligns with like Paul's, so because Paul's like a World War II veteran, it aligns with like trauma resurfacing, madness emerging, or something inhuman breaking through the shell.
Okay. So I have a strange left field question about your choices when writing the book. Um,
Yeah.
and I've actually read articles on why everyone chooses that war. We are young. Neither one of us has seen World War II. I am old enough to remember the Iraq War, and I didn't serve, but I remember the war and everything like that. And that was a devastating war for the soldiers as well. Why choose World War II and not something newer?
I like not specifically like World War II, like obviously, I grew up watching like World War II stuff like Band of Brothers and stuff like that. But I really like that era of like American history, so like post World War II when you get into like the 1950s with like the nuclear family aspect and like the suburban white picket fence, that sort of thing. Because you have like a lot of people, it just seems very kind of like there was a lot of cognitive dissonance going on at the time, because like you have like these like picturesque families, and that's what a lot of like if you look at like advertising during that time, and even like a lot of media during that time, like they portray like this perfect nuclear family, but there's like so much rot underneath that, just from like, like war trauma and stuff, and people just like burying their emotions and their frustrations of like having to overcome something so devastating, not just for like the people, for like the soldiers in the war, the veterans, but for people, back home too, to have to like kind of pull themselves up by their bootstraps and get shit done. So I really like that era. I feel like there's a lot of psychology during that area that is just like there's just so much room to explore and play around with, because like you throw up this facade of like everything's perfect and everything's picturesque, but it's like deep down it's like, is it really? Like you guys went through a lot of shit just like 5 years ago, like what's really going on underneath? So I feel like as far as like psychological literature goes, that seems like the perfect time to like write about like some sort of like madness within.
I can understand the juxtaposition of the perfect outward appearance versus the broken inside.
Yeah.
Simple. I like it. I like it. I can dig it.
Thanks.
So it's and this novel, is it a standalone or is it going to be a world you explore?
It's a standalone. Although so my aunt, she's the one who so this was very like low budget book, like I had my aunt who she was like she's an English teacher, like a high school English teacher. She did like the revisions for me and everything and did all my editing and stuff, and she told me when she was doing my revision, she was like, it's a novella, like you need to like she was like, I want you to make it longer. I want you to like continue with it. And then people who have read it too are like, I want you to continue with it. So it could be something that I explore like later on down the road as like a continuation, kind of do like a little like mini series, like a novella series. But right now currently I'm working on other things in literature. So maybe in the future, but as of right now it is a standalone.
And it's a novella. How many words?
I want to say it was like 28,000 words. So it's short.
Okay. It is definitely a
Yeah.
novella. So some
Yeah.
people, and there's this push nowadays where they're like, oh, it's only 60,000 words. It's a novella. I'm like, no, that's a book. Anything over 50,000 in one word is a book, or 50,000 and
Right.
one and more words is a book. Anything less is
Right.
but some people are like, oh, it's just short. I'm like, it was a short book, but still, but no, that's a novella, and that's okay. Novellas are fun reads. I love novellas,
Yeah.
so I definitely, and they're quick reads too. They're also hard to write. When I write, I'm not like overly wordy. I'm not like verbose, but I get
Yeah.
descriptive. Very Truman Capote. Um, how did you not confine, but how did you discipline yourself to write a full story in only 28,000 words? Like to me, that's like act one. And you're like, no, I got it all
Yeah.
in this.
So
Like, how'd you do that?
for sure. So the way I write is I would say very unconventional, especially like, when I go to like conventions and stuff and I talk to other writers about their writing process, I'm like, whoa, I write nothing like you do, but that's okay, right? So with my writing process, I don't have like an outline, or anything. I basically just kind of like free write, and I kind of see it as like a movie in my head. So it's kind of like script writing, you know? And so like when you're writing like a movie script, it's really only like, you know, like 100 to like 150 pages or something, depending on how long your movie is. It's like, you know, like a page is like a minute or something. And so
Yeah.
the way I write is basically like I'm just like watching it play out as a movie in my head, and then just like filling up that page based on like what's happening by that minute. So it's very akin to like movie writing. And I kind of figured that out like after the fact, you know? Like I hadn't really like delved into that. That's just sort of like how my brain works. And I really more so just like write for fun too, like not to like, you know, follow like an exact layout or an exact plan, because like, you know, like I work and stuff, you know, so like I write like in my free time just for fun, you know?
Yeah. No, bills are there and they have to be paid. And
Yeah,
I the every job, no matter how cool it is, becomes a job after a while. And it's still a cool job, but
exactly.
it becomes a job. Uh, and people forget that with writing, you know. So the fact that you're like, no, I'm doing it for fun. I have a book. I'm working on other stuff, but it's just free. You know what I'm saying? There's an enjoyment to that that has left a lot of us a long ago. You know what I'm saying? Because
Mhm.
it's we have deadlines to meet. We have this, we have that, and well, it's still fun. It's not the I got some time tonight. All right. It's damn it. I have to make time tonight to write. So there's a difference in that mindset. So you're kind of in a
Yeah.
good phase still, but I don't think
Yes, yeah, and it's
yeah
like, you know, although I would love to, you know, like pursue writing full time, I do have that fear of it becoming like a job, of it becoming monotonous. And then it's like all the joy is sucked out of it, you know? And I saw a quote the other day, and it was basically, I don't even remember the quote, and I don't even remember who it was by, so I'm just going to paraphrase it. But it was basically like, you know, like the death of art is when you try to like capitalize off of it. You know, it's like you lose all of like your creative purpose in it.
yes, and I understand where they're coming from because when I was a musician back in my younger years, it was always it's got to be about the music and no, you can't. But at a certain point, if you're going to become a professional in the field, yes, you're writing for the money or making music or whatever, making the arts, whatever that medium may
Right.
be for the money. But how you make it is whether or not you know you kill the art or not.
Yeah.
And there's many authors who write the stories that they need to tell and that should be told versus just putting something out there because oh, it'll sell and make money, you know, and then it becomes slop and a big
Yeah.
craze for, you know, a while, but then it becomes forgotten. And I don't know if you know anything about the current craze in the literary world, Dungeon Crawler Carl.
What is it?
Dungeon Crawler Carl.
Uh-uh.
Okay. So it's this big thing and it's huge right now. And every convention I go to, people are always talking about it and stuff like that. And it's huge. And what's funny is now I've never read it, but I've read what it's about, and I've read, you know, I can reading what it's about. You can always sense the um, allegory behind it. You know what I'm saying? The metaphors and stuff like that. And a lot of people, I think, either skim over the themes to the book. You know what I'm saying? They're like, "Oh, it's this entertaining book," and I'm sure it is, but they miss the point. Kind of like before you were born, there was this movie called Fight Club,
Oh, I love Fight Club.
and 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 I can say I can make the roll my eyes about people missing the point. But back when it came out, everyone, especially young men, myself included, missed the point of the movie. And we're like, oh, we're angry, and now we get to fight each other, and we could say it's because of the movie, and, blah, 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 and like gag me with a fucking spoon. But we all missed the point. And I think there's a lot of people who read the good popular literature now and are missing the point. And I'm not saying everyone who reads is missing the point, but at least those people are still writing the good stories. You know what I'm saying? And not killing the art
Yeah.
behind it. Excuse me taking 5 minutes to say that.
No, you're good. Yeah. And that makes a lot of sense. And, like I'm going to redact what I said just a little bit, because like I feel like you, and that's, so I do want to make writing a career, but I just don't want to sacrifice any part of my, creative liberties, And so that's sort of like where I'm at with it. Like right now I am writing for fun because like I really enjoy it and I'm going to continue writing, and if it takes me places, then it takes me places. If it doesn't,
Yeah.
at least I just did it for fun and I really enjoyed doing it.
And here's the thing: is having been with publishers, um, they're like, oh, if you go with a publisher and you're not published, the publisher's going to make you change stuff. They don't sit there and make you change stuff to fit their needs and wants. You know what I'm saying? Like their job is to make something that's going to be a better story for you, for what
Yeah.
you're trying to. And as long as the authors can go into it with a mindset of they're not trying to tell me I suck, or they're not trying to tell me change it because these are the trends, but change it because it's a better story this way, and then you go write it and make it your own. They're not changing it. You know what I'm saying? And you're still getting to
Yeah.
write something that's true to yourself. So I think as long as you keep your kind of mindset and ideals, I think you'll be fine. You know what I'm saying? In a published
Yeah.
world with a traditional publisher versus having to go the self route. But who am I? You know what I'm saying? I'm just a host of a podcast, so fuck me. But that's just my thoughts on things. So you did say you're working on some other stuff though. Do we get to hear about it or
Yeah.
not yet? Okay.
Yeah, so I am working on like three things actually because I cannot keep my focus, on just like one thing at a time. So I'm when I feel like in like a storyteller mode, I've been working on my full-length novel, which I kind of have like a working title for it, but I'm not going to tell you because I might change it later on. Um
I'm with you on that.
but
Never tell
and then I
working
also
titles.
have say what?
Sorry. I said never tell working titles. Never say the working titles. It's a
Okay.
jinx.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. That was my instinct
Yeah.
and I was like, I'm not going to do
No.
that.
No. But what is it
But
kind of about, if you can tell that?
yeah, so it takes place in sort of like a kind of like a dystopian future setting. So not that far into the future, more so like, like 50 years in the future. It's from the perspective of Poppy, and she's a captain on a salvaging vessel. And so they're going out and they're like, salvaging like, wreckage and materials and stuff from like a war that happened like out at sea. And some sort of a cataclysmic, not cataclysmic, like a weird climate event happens and their boat ends up capsizing. And she's rescued by a cruise liner. Um, but the cruise liner is like really weird. And that's kind of where I'm going to leave it.
Okay, no, that works. Uh, get rescued by a cruise and have the cruise, because weird can be many things, and if you're keeping it realistic, it gives us options to think about and speculate on, and if you're taking it into paranormal or fantasy, it opens it up more and takes it in different directions. So I like leaving it where it's at. That's a nice thing. Um,
Thanks.
changing
Yeah.
changing directions. Changing directions.
Yeah.
You're from Tennessee.
Yes.
Where in Tennessee are you originally from?
So I'm from Columbia, Tennessee, which is like 30 minutes south of Nashville. And it's been dubbed the mule capital of the world.
The animal or the drink?
The animal.
The
Yeah.
animal.
But a
Okay.
lot of people do like to drink there. So yeah. But yes, the animal.
So is Columbia a small town, or is it because Nashville is a bigger city?
Right. Yeah.
Is
So growing up, yeah, Columbia was a really small town. And I mean, it's still like technically a small town, although a lot of people, which is feels really strange, but a lot of people from California have moved like to Nashville and like the Nashville like surrounding areas, because of like low property taxes and stuff like that.
yeah,
Um, but so Columbia has grown a lot over the years, but growing up, it was a really small town. And we would have so it was like every spring, we would have like a Mule Day parade to commemorate. So I guess I should tell you what Mule Day is. So or why mules. So it was like
please.
way, way, way back in the day, like pre-Civil War times. Columbia was like a mule trading post, and it was like the largest mule trading post, and like horses too. And just like livestock animals. It was like one of the largest trading posts in the United States. And so every year in the springtime, we our schools, like all of like the district schools, would like coordinate spring break to fall on mule days. So that way we could get out of school, and they would use our parking lot to like load up all the mules. And then they would have a parade where it's like all the mules would like walk down the street, and everyone gets day drunk at like 9 a.m. And yeah, it's a
I've been
hoot.
there. I've I've
You've
I've
been
been
there?
passed out.
Shut up.
No, no, not there. I've been day drunk at 9 a.m.
Oh, okay.
Not to Mule Day, not to Mule Day. No, no, no. I've been passed out on a bar by 11 a.m. before. Um,
Oh, well, good for you. You got to do it
no,
at
no,
least once in your
it was a
life.
bad day. But you have to do. Sometimes you just have to do things, and sometimes it means that.
Yeah,
No, I've never
I'm
been to
sure it was a bad
Nashville.
day, but it was a really great morning while it was happening.
Things work out sometimes. No, I've never been to Nashville myself, let alone Columbia. Um, I've been to Memphis momentarily, and that's when I was visiting in-laws in Finger, Tennessee. Um, if you've never been to Finger, Tennessee, don't go. There's nothing there.
I mean, that's a lot of places in Tennessee, unless it's like Memphis, Nashville, Knoxville.
Yeah, like I mean, I loved driving through. It's beautiful, lots of mountains, Appalachian mountains and stuff. But uh, people from the West Coast will not understand that they are called mountains because the Rockies are completely different. Um,
Yeah.
but absolutely beautiful area and stuff like that. Just the property I was staying at was 6 acres of property, and I was like, "Oh my God, you're gonna have no neighbors around at all." 6 acres, you could still see your neighbor's driveway through the trees. I was like, "This is not enough
Yeah.
property to be this rural and still have your neighbors there." But it's rural enough that my wife got a tick bite. Um, no Lyme's disease, thank God. But you know what I'm saying? Just like, and I'm just like, there, it's very different. But we did go to this place, and I have to tell you, if you're ever in Finger, Tennessee, or outside Finger, Tennessee, there's a place called the Country Store, something like that, and it's
Okay.
where they got Cracker Barrel's idea from.
Okay.
So if you and it's absolutely wonderful and a great place to eat. But yeah, don't go to Finger, Tennessee. Uh, I'm gonna get canceled by all 12 people in Finger.
Oh, 12.
All 12. But have you ever been to a cemetery in Tennessee?
A
I question.
cemetery?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Did you notice the dates on the tombstones?
What do you mean?
Okay, I grew up in Chicago, and there's all sorts of tombstones in Chicagoland. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
But there was a cemetery right by the house I was staying at. And so I'm like, let's go look, let's go look. And it's an old cemetery. There are some newer graves there, but it's an old cemetery. But like, there's a bunch of baby tombstones there from like pre-vaccination days and stuff like that, where like,
Right.
they're like, the mom was buried, decades later, but here's like three kids, all who lived less than a year or 2 or 3 years. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, it's a scary place to go to those cemeteries.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I didn't see any mules while I was there. So there's that.
No.
This is what happens when I've been drinking is I have to segue. So the lack of mules in the cemetery. Though I think if you ever want to write a horror story about, Mule Day, it can start with a mule in the cemetery just randomly appearing because that's kind of creepy.
Oh, well, so I'm also one of the things that I'm working on too is like a short story collection. Um, because I just love like, just fun little short stories. And of course they're all horror themed because like I'm a spooky girl at heart. But that's a great idea.
I just pictured the cemetery in my head and then like looking at a tombstone and looking up and there's like a mule staring at you and you're just like, because aren't mules the cross between no, that's a donkey. No, what
No,
the hell's a
yeah,
mule?
a mule, it's a cross between, you were right, it's a donkey
Okay.
and a horse, and they're
Okay.
sterile too.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay. I was right. I was confusing mule and
yeah,
donkey. I'm like, wait, one of them is the cross between the two. It's the mule. Um,
yeah.
don't drink, kids. Um, the so you moved though, and it's this horrible segue. You moved to Michigan,
Yes.
and I have to ask, how long have you lived in Michigan? Because you have zero Tennessee accent,
Oh, really? Well,
like
I think that's
none.
just like, yeah. Well, I think that's just like me personally. I feel like when I was younger, so actually you can blame my dad. My dad shamed me out of my country accent when I was younger. So I remember this, I was like probably like 8 years old, and I've been hanging out with like some of my friends, and they had like really thick Southern accents, and so I came back home and I was talking like a really thick Southern accent. And my dad he was like, why do you sound like that? And so, yeah, so now I just don't
Yeah.
have one. But we just moved up here to Michigan, and which is a stupid time to move, but we moved up here like at the end of January when it was like literally like peak winter. Like it was negative 13 degrees when we came up here. All my plants died in the U-Haul. It was really unfortunate, but yeah.
Yeah, no, moving in the winter is actually not a bad choice. It's a hard choice. It is not an
Yeah.
easy choice to do to actually make the move because you're unloading boxes and stuff and frostbite and just cold. I've done it. I've done it in like 10-degree weather. It's not fun. Um, but rent tends to be cheapest when you move in the winter.
Really?
Yes,
I
because everybody
mean,
wants to move in the summer, so there's more they can charge.
oh, yeah, that kind of makes sense because I feel like we kind of lucked out, with our apartment. But yeah.
So it is something to keep in mind when you go to renew your lease and they want to up it.
Yeah.
It is as much as going back to the beginning 5 minutes, as much as the world sucks for renting and everything like that, tenants do have a little more power than I think they want, not want to acknowledge, but know they can acknowledge because with the developments popping up everywhere, and I
Yeah.
mean everywhere, um, the tenants have power because they were like, I can just go down the street. And as long as you don't mind packing shit up and moving, you can find a cheaper place. So a lot of times people will be like, oh, well, then let's just lower your rent. I am all about tenants' rights because I've had to deal with issues like that before. So understand that just because you're paying rent doesn't mean you have no power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and it kind of goes back to like what we were talking about with, like my generation, never being able to afford to buy a house. There's so many people, like everyone I know that's my age is either renting or they're living at home with their parents. So it's like nobody owns a home, so you have like this entire generation of renters. So it's like we kind of have to like band together and like fight for our rights and stuff. And like we're like shit talking like all these different like leasing companies or apartment complexes and stuff. And so then we know like through the grapevine or on Reddit, like, oh, stay away from this place. So it's like, places kind of have to like step their game up in that regard. So at least that's a good thing.
It's not haha funny, but ironically funny because the best and worst landlords I've had were all like indie authors, like indie, not authors, indie landlords. They weren't like a leasing company. You know what I'm saying? It was just, here's a husband and wife who
Yeah.
want to lease you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like an independent landlord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Independent. Thank you. Thank you. This is what happens when you
Yeah.
drink. Oh yeah.
I
Speaking
got
of
you.
which, Jesus Christ, we are 35 minutes in. What are you drinking?
Oh, I'm drinking whiskey and Coke.
Whiskey, Coke. Yeah, 35 minutes in for anyone keeping track. That is the longest it's ever taken me to ask anyone. So I also read that you have better cardinal sense of direction or sense of cardinal directions better on sea than you do on land. How the hell
Yeah.
do you discover that?
Oh, okay. So yeah, it was kind of like a weird discovery. So like my whole life, I have had like no sense of direction, you know? Like I use my phone to like Google Maps everything. Even now, you know, like I couldn't find my way to like the Dunkin' Donuts, which I know is only like 3 miles away from me without using my phone for GPS. It's kind of embarrassing, you know, like it's bad. But there was one day where so my husband and I we wanted to go on like this camping trip, and so we went to Bear Island, which is off the coast of South Carolina, I think. It's one of the Carolinas. Um, but so and to get there, you have to like kayak basically. And
Okay.
when we went, we didn't realize that and it was only like a 3 mile kayak, you know, which is like that's not super far, you know, especially if you're like in a tandem, like it's not bad. And but when we went, we didn't realize that it was kind of like off season, and we were kind of wondering when we got there, like there's nobody here, you know, like we're gonna have like the whole island to ourselves, like it's gonna be awesome. But we're like, it is kind of weird that nobody's here. Well, the water was like super low. And so you had like all these reeds and stuff, you know, like sticking out of the water, and you can't see anything. And you're like, you know, basically like maneuvering through like all this marsh. And you know, we finally like make it to the island and stuff, and we camp there for 2 nights, and we have a horrible time. There were bugs everywhere. We didn't bring like any pillows or anything because I was like, we're camping on sand, it's gonna be soft, right? And
No,
no, it's
it's
like
not.
concrete when you're camping on sand. It's awful. And then so
I'm sorry.
the
I'm
second
not
night we were
laughing at you.
there.
I'm just like, this sounds like a
No, it's
horrible
okay. You can laugh at
experience.
us because we were idiots and we were very ill prepared for this. And we just had that adventure spirit, you know. We're like, the spirit's gonna carry us through the camping trip and we're gonna have a great time. It was horrible. Um, and so it was like the second night we were there, I was like, I'm booking a hotel room for our third night and we're getting off this damn island, you know? And so I book our hotel room and we have to get back, and we could not find our way back. And like the whole time, like Will is my husband, he's guiding it and stuff, and I'm just like, oh, you know, you should have taken a turn back there, like no, oh, you should have gone this way. And he's like, you don't know what you're talking about, you have no sense of direction. And I'm like, just let me direct it, because like we've been on the water for like 4 hours at this point, like I can get us there. And for whatever reason, I just knew exactly where to go, like on the water, and I got us there. And like we had spent like 4 hours just like going in circles. I got us there in like 25 minutes. And
I can
I
tell
don't
you
know what it
why.
is.
I can tell you what it
Why?
is. When you're in areas that have landmarks, familiar surroundings, even if it's new to you, you see surroundings that are familiar to you, like Burger King, Dunkin' Donuts, stuff like that, even if it's a new area. And so your mind tries to remember the landmarks and the things. You let go of all of that because you didn't have them. So your brain was functioning at like, I don't want to say like a primal level, but it was
It
functioning
was though.
without the safeguards of, oh, well, I know I have to turn at, you know, the weeping willow tree, or, you know, the school where it burned down or whatever fucking shit. And you're just like, this is where we have to go because and it was like this instinct that kicked in. And that is why,
It
like,
was. I
if
swear.
you
Yeah.
drive without looking at buildings, you'll get to where you need to go.
Okay. Well, Yeah, because I think, during that time, it was just like, because it was so primal being out there. Like we had none of our supplies. All of our food got wet like the first day. And, so it was
Oh,
like we were in like primal mode, and so it was like the monkey Maddie kicked in and was like, I know exactly where to go. I was like, I'm gonna get us out of this shit so quick.
and you did it. And you did it.
I did it. I did it. We survived.
Um, I am one to let the spirit of adventure lead me to things. And much like you, if I don't stop myself, I would have made the same mistakes you did, which is why I was laughing, because I could have seen myself going, yeah, it sounds like something I would do. Just, we're going camping. We
Yeah.
don't need a tent. It'll be on the beach. Who cares about
Yeah.
strongyloides and other parasites? We're just going to, yeah, no, like, oh my
Yeah.
God. Yeah. And I go outside and I am a type O blood type, which means,
Me too.
uh, and mosquitoes, they've actually studied mosquitoes and blood types, and mosquitoes are most drawn to type O and I want to say AB positive, some shit like
Hmm.
that. So there's like a hierarchy of what mosquitoes like to
Yeah.
feed on, and O's being the, the by far and large the most preferred blood type. So walk outside, it'll be dusk, and I'll be being bitten, and my wife's like, "What is? There's no bugs." I'm like, "Yeah, there are. Yeah, there are. Yeah, there are."
Yeah. I know.
So
I
it's
get lit up.
yeah.
Will's like, anytime we go outside, like if we go anywhere where it's like kind of marshy or something, or, he's like, I'm so glad I have you around, because you're like my own mosquito repellent, because they all go after me and then they leave him
Mm-hmm.
alone. And I'm like, fuck
Yep.
you, dude. Come on. It's not nice.
All right, so I have to ask, because people have been listening, they want to follow, they want to buy the book. Give me the shameless self promotion. Where can we follow you, find you, buy your books, all that jazz?
For sure. Yeah. So I guess the easiest way to find me is probably through Instagram. I'm a true zillennial in that way. I do all my networking and everything through there. But so my Instagram is oops underscore all underscore crumbs. So oops all crumbs underscores in between. And I have a link to my book on there. You can purchase it on Amazon. That's the only place that you can purchase it. Although I will be dropping off some books at Fenton Open Books probably sometime this week. So there will be a few copies over there in Fenton, Michigan. So it's just the bookstore downtown. But yeah, so if you're in like the Fenton, Michigan area, you can buy them there. Otherwise, I would just head to my Instagram, check that out. You can also friend me on Facebook, Madeline Sanderson in Fenton, Michigan. So yeah.
Thank you. No, thank you for sharing, because people always want to know, so I like to get that in at the end. Um, it's been a wild conversation, and I've loved every moment of it. Thank you so much for being as talkative and everything, adjectives that you are. I've had a blast. I hope you have had at least half as much fun as I've had. Uh,
I have. It's
but
been great. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I've never done anything like this, so it's been super fun.
Well, you're a natural at it, so I hope you keep doing it and keep getting out there and stuff, because if your book is even half as good as the cover looks, it's going to be a great book. So I highly recommend that everyone get out there, go buy the book, and support her and support the indie arts, because you never know what's hiding the unpolished diamond, or diamond in the rough, or whatever the fuck metaphor and maximum I'm going for there, because not everything needs to be marketed through big houses in order to be good. So go pick it up, all that jazz. Thank you so much. I'm glad you had fun. For everyone who's listening, thank you. Like, follow, share, all that shit that everyone begs you to do at the end of shows. And until next time, remember, it costs nothing to be kind. I'll see you then.
Thank you for listening to Drinking with Authors. Join us next time for another fun conversation with an author over drinks.